Hey everyone, welcome to ACeverything. My name is Andrew. It's my first video I've done in probably about 9 months or so, something like that. This is obviously kind of a weird subject to come back on, but with Birds of Prey set to come out on February 7th, obviously there are a lot of different YouTubers discussing um, the recent reviews that just came out today. If you don't know, they did an early screening today for critics and I believe fans. I believe it was a mix of two. And they did one screening over in London in England. They did one down in Mexico City as well. I'm not sure why they picked those specific locations, but that's where they did both the screenings. There are a variety of YouTubers discussing the reactions and stuff like that. I watched multiple different videos discussing the social media reactions because if you don't know, this was actually the end of the social media embargo. So critics were allowed to post their reactions to social media. They were not allowed to do reviews. The review embargo does not get lifted until the day before the film releases, which has a lot of people worried. Um, I have to say I'm somewhat worried about the film myself. I've I'm mixed. The trailers have not caught my attention. The first one did a little bit, but other than that, it has not really garnered a lot of interest from a lot of people. It's predicted to come out with about, I believe, 49 to 52 million out of its first opening weekend. And I've seen a couple YouTubers painting that as a bad thing. There's a video, I'm not going to say from the specific channel, but it is titled, "Oh, Birds of Prey DCEU lowest opening, feminism or girl power or feminist rage, something like that." I believe that's the title. I have to say that it's stupid to discuss it anyway. Painting it, yes, it'll probably be the lowest DCEU movie opening, but it's also one of the lowest amounts of money that's ever been spent on making a comic book movie ever. The budget for this movie is only $97 million. So if they come out of the weekend with anywhere near 50 million, they're gonna make plenty of profit. They literally only have to, I believe their break even point is probably somewhere between 150 and $200 million. And there's no way in hell this movie is not going to make at least, I would say at least 300 to $400 million. It's probably going to make way more than that. There's not exactly a lot of not a lot exactly a lot of competition in February. This isn't the summer. This isn't summer. We're not seeing summer blockbusters coming out for another 3 to 4 months. It's gonna make its money, and if this movie is so low when it comes to its budget, it could bomb to the level of Dark Phoenix, which came out I believe last August, and it would still make $50 million. That is how low an amount of money they spent on this movie. They spent maybe $30 million more than they spent making the Joker. DC is being smart about how they're investing in their movies right now, or Warner Brothers, and they're just not spending a lot of money making these movies. So, pointing out the fact that a movie that has a $97 million budget is going to have the lowest opening of any DCEU film is not an amazing thing to do. It doesn't you haven't achieved anything. It's a waste of time and it's stupid. Now, beyond that, let's get back to the core subject. Jeremy from Quartering, I'm not a huge fan of his. I don't hate his content. I don't mind it. Some of it's good, some of it's bad. But the title of his latest video, or his video that he did today, or yesterday, on Birds of Prey, painted it, I believe that the title was "Ratings Tank as Birds of Prey Marketing Gets Desperate." I believe that's what it was. And I think this is just clickbait to a degree, and a lot of YouTubers do clickbait. Pretty much all of them do it. Um, but usually they don't outright lie, and that's kind of what he did. In the video, he discusses a little bit of some comments from Ewan McGregor in terms of him saying the Black Mask and Messina's character, I think it's Messina's character, may be gay. Obviously, that's not canon in the comics. Obviously, the Black Mask isn't gay. Um, I'll be honest, I don't think that a character's sexuality is very important. Um, Now, let me clarify, I'm not a big fan of identity politics, so I'm not going to sit here like I'm on the woke train or anything. That's not the case. I'm not a big fan of identity politics, especially not in films. And I'll be honest, I'm a little worried that they're going to shove it down our throats when in this movie. But I'm holding out hope that DC doesn't do it. Um, I'll be honest, the feel of the film, I have no problem with them making a female-led movie or female-led superhero movie. I got no problem with that. I got no problem with the fact that it's a team of women. I got no problem with that. That's if you're gonna complain about that baser thing, you should probably not even bother watching movies because you're wasting your time. You're gonna complain about everything. Okay, there's nothing wrong with them making a female-led superhero movie. Um, I don't even I'm not even bothered by the fact that it might be a sort of a women empowerment thing. That doesn't even bother me. But it doesn't seem as though they're going to point out misogyny on the part of the black mask and stuff. And it seems that the way he worded it in his interview and stuff, it does sound like they're going to give us a big spoonful of SJW stuff. And it does suck. I hope they don't do it. But painting this movie, he painted this movie with a broad stroke and acted like all the critics that went and saw this film today or yesterday hated it. And that's actually not the case at all. Even, I don't know what site he specifically went to. I'm not sure if he showed it in the video or not. But the aggregate, the overall rating stood at a 3.3 out of 5. That's about a 66% on a Rotten Tomato scale. That's about the area where Aquaman was rated. It was about 66%. So I think it's 65% in fact. So this film would have done better, slightly better. Now there's no discussing this anyway. This is the biggest thing. I don't know why he even bothered going to a site like that. No one can actually release real ratings right now. There's no point in going over that. It's stupid. It makes no sense. You're not going to get a real feel for things until for another week or so. We're not going to have a good idea of how good or bad this film really is for another week or so. Early screenings are looking good, generally very positive. If you watch Andy Signore from Popcorn Planet's video, I highly recommend that one. Or Matt Jarbo's from Three Buck Theater. Those are two really good channels. They both actually went over the social media part of it, which would have made the most sense if you're making a video like this, because that's what they're allowed to do right now. They're allowed to release their reactions on social media. They can't actually release reviews. So it would make more sense if you're going to cover this to go to social media and go through the tweets and stuff like that and cover that. It doesn't make a lot of sense to go to a rating site when they can't even actually rate it. They're not supposed to actually be doing that. It doesn't make a lot of sense to do it that way. And it doesn't matter either way. The fact is, he did go to a rating site, and it didn't support his point anyway, so he basically lied. I don't know if you're so committed to this anti-woke thing that you gotta do whatever you can to get the views from that crowd or whatever. And I understand you gotta cater to your audience, but the fact is don't lie, okay? And you lied. You can say whatever you want to say, but you lied. You stated ratings tanked. They didn't. That makes no sense. Saying the movie is okay is not ratings tanking. That makes no sense. It's not great for the movie, but it's certainly not tanking. That makes no sense at all. So I don't know why he did it that way. I don't know why he set up his video that way. But it is what it is. I think it's just clickbait if I'm being honest. But it is what it is. Everyone does it, but just don't lie in your video. But overall, I do have a podcast coming up with a personal friend. We'll probably discuss this. But I don't know why he painted it this way. I think this movie's going to be okay. I'm hoping it's good. It's going to make its money, okay? It's going to make its money regardless. Like I said, even if it tanks to the level of Dark Phoenix, which is horrible, and I think they lost a crap load of money on that, but even if it tanks to that level, it's still going to make $50-60 million. It doesn't matter. This movie's going to be fine. It's going to make plenty of money, and DC's going to be okay with things. How it does critically and commercially is a whole nother thing. How it does with the audience, how they think of it, is a whole nother thing. We'll see. I think overall, you're probably going to see like a 70% audience rating on this movie. Maybe it ekes out upper 70%. I think that's what you're looking at. I don't think this movie's going to be rated great. I don't think it's going to be rated on the scale of like Black Panther, which I think, honestly, I think that movie is way overrated, but it is what it is. Um, it made it, I understand that Marvel and Star Wars and things like that and Disney has been doing a lot of identity politics in their films, and I get it, but that doesn't mean that you can misrepresent the facts. Okay, Captain Marvel was a train wreck in my opinion. I think Brie Larson should be recasted, or that character should be trashed in general, because that movie was a mess. And it's not hard to see that that movie was basically a message on immigration. It's not hard to see, but it is what it is. I guess I don't know why we're trying to cater to this small audience or small part of the population with these movies right now. But even if I discuss this, on a podcast or something like that, I'm not going to misrepresent the facts like Jeremy did, and that's just a fact. Fact is, he did misrepresent the facts, and that's not fair to the film. That's not fair to the studio. That's not fair to the actors and actresses, and that's just the way it is. Honestly, I think this movie will end up being very, very, very much a third wave feminist message. I hope not. We'll see how it goes, but I did want to make a video on this subject, even though it's weird to come back on this. I did want to make a video on this subject because I think people do have to be held accountable, and it could have just been an honest mistake, but it is what it is. Don't title your videos this way if it's not legitimate, and it's not. Anyway, hope everyone enjoyed this video. Like and subscribe. Have a great day.